Okay, restarting the stream. Hopefully that helps. But hello again. It is still this wonderful Sunday. Jumping back into the usual routine. Won't do my whole spiel again. Yeah, I'm back for now, Shad. We'll see how long it sticks around for. Hopefully, we're back for good here. But okie dokie, what was I even talking about? Right, trying to decide if we wanted to start off here today with the Transmuter versus Venom Mage. I feel like I almost should do the full introduction again, because I'm not sure how much, if any, of the original one came through. But of course, we're jumping back in to start out our Naga character, and I'm leaning towards Venom Mage for the really solid aptitudes that we have in that. A little bit of a risk of investing too far into the poison side. Between this and our poisonous spit, we'll kind of be doubling down. And otherwise it's Transmuter, since that is the avenue that we will be wanting to take eventually. So, because I never make any decisions on my own, I was gonna outsource it to this lovely coin here. So, I think we'll go heads for Transmuter, and we'll see where that lands. Ah, we get tails, so it's looking like we're in a Venom Mage start today. Let's head that direction. Hopefully we don't have any more stream issues. If we do, we might have to reschedule this for another day. But I have faith. Let's do this. Starting with our Naga here, and because I'm not very creative, let's just go with Salazar for our good old snaky boy. Let's get ready to hop right into it, shall we? So, generally, I find myself just turning off stealth whenever it's on by default on any character. But with the +5 and our slow movement speed on Naga, it might be worth it to invest a little bit in stealth, even if just so we can avoid some fights with some of the scarier enemies in the game. So we'll leave it on at least for a little bit here. Still focusing down poison magic, transmutations can go off for a little bit. We'll feel that out and see where it leaves us. Then, of course, jump into the usual stuff here, making sure we're picking up all these lovely goodies. And last but not least, let's send out a morgue file so I can sneak in over here real quick and grab the seed, because of course if any of you lovely folk want to play along at home and see how you fare in the same dungeon setup, that's always a good time. But okie dokie, with that out of the way, we're pretty much ready to go. So in general with Nagas, the main things to keep in mind are our movement speed. We're a little bit slower than other species, but look at all these other traits, innate traits that we have. So we'll gain AC as we level up. I believe it's 1 point of AC per 3 levels, so it takes a while to really get rolling. We can see invisible, so we're still in that trend, Vampire, Formicid, Naga. Not having to worry about invisible things is always a bit of a nice bonus. But we do have this misshapen body, so I think we're halved AC from all armor. So definitely something to keep in mind. That's where we're hoping to transition into transmutations and just get something like statue form to do all that work for us. Resistance to poison, always fantastic. As mentioned, our slow speed. We can spit poison. This is a really strong early game advantage. A bit less so when we're also a Venom Mage, but it doesn't cost mana, it just costs a cooldown for our breath, so that's pretty sweet. And we have a snake-like lower body, so we can wear bardines, and we cannot wear boots. So pretty decent trade as long as we can get fortunate enough to find that bardine. Otherwise, we have pretty decent health. I believe it's plus 20%, so it'll be nice to have a decent little pool there. As is usual with a lot of these species, it's the trade-off that you take between having good defensive abilities and aptitudes versus health. Very similar to Ogre. And I hope so, Spintard. First time Naga. I mean, of course we'll do it. We just have to put our minds to it. Maybe we'll kill off one at some point, just for the lulz and, you know, for the suspense and a good storyline. But definitely not going to make any mistakes. It's going to be a thing of beauty. And let's see how we get along here. So you can see just how strong the breath weapon is there, and I would gladly line up to potentially hit both of you. Thankfully we land the poison on the bat this time, so we don't have to worry about them just dodging around us, being a bit of a pain in the rear. But we will be learning Poisonous Vapors, and we'll just get on going here. Naga slow boy indeed. And we'll potentially be doubling down on that slowness if I have anything to say for it, because I do love me my Nagas of Che, but we'll have to see what kind of altar luck we see early on, because I'm not going to look the gift horse in the mouth if we see something brilliant at the beginning of the run here. But as you can see, we're kind of just breezing our way through the first floor of the dungeon, largely due to luck. If we found some faster monsters, the first adder you come across, at least you're not dealing with poison, which is always great, but it can still be a bit of a pain, and there's no shot of you running away from that son of a gun. So we'll see how it goes as we continue onwards here. And let us back off into a bit of a corridor. So Naga's all about really planning out your fights, since there is no running away once you've started. And so we'll just be doing our very best to play some good ball game here, play some smart encounter logic, and see how it goes. Chad, you guess that I have to kill what sees me, no escape? Pretty much, unless I'm very fortunate in my positioning. Generally, if anything sees me, fully notices me, we're in it for the long haul. So again, we'll try and play as cautiously as possible. That's why we are training a little bit of stealth in an unusual manner, at least for myself. And we'll see how that goes. Just get lightning scales, it's fine, right? It's that easy. Just get that, or the Black Knight Barding. I really don't see what the big deal is with Nagas. Okay, hello Jessica. We should be able to take you down, no problem. Fantastic. And we'll keep just breezing through here to start out. You do love to see it. I do want to learn Algob's Toxic Radiance pretty quickly here, so we'll keep training Poison Magic for the time being. Get that churning onwards. Wouldn't mind switching up to Leather Armor at some point in our journey, so I'll grab that real quick like. And we'll just keep going. Hey, Dr. Pirate, how's it going? At the very least, it seems like we've recovered from our Fatal Stream issues, so that's good. I'm glad I can see all of you and you can see me. Maybe I shouldn't have mentioned anything. I'm just jinxing it, opening myself up to the probabilities, but I'm sure it will be fine. So we shall continue. We've been very fortunate so far in what we found. It's funny because I mentioned adders as kind of scary because of their fast speed, but probably the scariest thing that we could come across on a Naga character early on is a centaur, because there's absolutely no shot of us getting out of there. Let's get one quick backstab in and then finish you off, no problems. Hello UF, hope you have a great rest of your life. Not even going to bother checking to see if UF has a fancy cloak or anything, because I don't want to be tempted by the evils of the world. Instead, let's just let them live their life in harmony and peace till the end of their days. Wouldn't that be nice? And Grinder, I feel like you are resistant to poison, so here's where we get into a spot of trouble. We do have the Ice Blast wand, which was kind of fortunate. Pretty high chance of being paralyzed. Very resistant to cold, but I think it might kind of be our only good bet here, our only option. So we're going to start blasting. At the very least, Ice Blast gets around some measure of cold resistance, so that is something. Still not exactly an ideal situation here, but we're just going to have to keep rolling the dice and hope it all works out. Of course, even after we beat Grinder, you can see that we have another poison immune enemy here. Hello, my bullfrog friend. Up to 7 damage isn't the end of the world. Let's get you slightly closer here, right? It's kind of tempted to try and spit to see if it would at least deal some amount of damage, but doesn't look like it. And I think I'm just going to expend the rest of our wand, trying to get the kill, but unfortunately they get it in 2 hits and we do die. So this is the rub when you choose to play as a Venom Mage Naga. You are very much relegating yourself to only poison, which, as you saw, works out fantastic for the first few floors as long as you're not unlucky. As soon as you get into a spot of trouble, things get a little dicier. But hey, guess I should have started chugging potions earlier. Lignification would have probably gotten us through the fight. Poor old Salazar. I knew him well. But hey, that means we can all start again together here. And let's get ready to hop right into it. So maybe instead of Venom Mage, let's go with the other option I had in mind. Good old Transmuter start and see if we can't get that going. Poison works great until it doesn't. True words never been spoken. It's very much the case here. And if only we were playing a little bit later in the next version when 0.29 comes to release, because then at least we don't have to worry about all the undead wandering around the dungeon floors, and we're in a slightly better spot. Grinder is still a bit of a pain though. Let's try this out here. And again, I probably should have brainstormed a bit of a list of fun names. Could, I guess, go with, I don't know how well boop translates to other people. It's what I always associate with snakes, because you always gotta boop the snoot. They're removing undead, not fully removing them, but you no longer find zombies and skeletons in the regular dungeon floors. So huge kind of advantage given back to cold or ice elementalists and poison mages. Noodle boop, perfect. That's my kind of snake name. Okie dokie. Getting back into the thick of it. It's hard to say whether we should immediately train unarmed or if it can wait just a smidge, but I think we'll keep it on for the time being and see how it goes. And then, of course, the usual routine here. And last but not least, we'll dump that file again, because this time it's definitely going to be the luckiest Naga run we've ever seen. And people are going to be clamoring for the seed, wanting to play along. So there you have it. And let's get ready to once again hop into the mix, shall we? So again, fortunately, we still have the poison breath, which is going to be a pretty huge advantage early on here, because just Beastly Appendage might be a bit of a rough ride, to say the least, against the early dungeon. Don't want to rely too hard on our unarmed combat, but otherwise should be absolutely fantastic. This time around we'll be upgrading our armor as we go almost immediately. 12% failure on Beastly Appendage, not the end of the world, I'll take that. And back on the road we go. So the bats, not going to worry too much, let's kill the ball python, and then we can slowly make our way through the rest of you. +2 Vorpal Longsword. Slightly tempting, but I think we'll stick with what we've got going here for the time being, largely relying on that fantastic poison breath. You can see even just fighting with the baby monster there that we do struggle just a smidge when it comes to our straight up fighting prowess, but we'll get there eventually and we'll be absolutely curb stomping anything and everything the dungeon throws at us. Just you wait. Okie dokie. D1, as we saw before, not going to be the end of the world, not going to be too much of a stretch, I would hope not at the very least. And we'll see how it goes into the future. Ruined War Axe, what have we got here? Okay, not worth the switch for the time being. I think we'll just keep with our standard guns here and make our way down through the dungeon. I think that's the end of the floor. Perfect. So we're asking for no undead, if at all possible. That would be nice. To one-shot this kobold, which is solid because they had a decently scary whip there. And, right, at least we're both slow, so I can actually outrun the little wormy boys. The adder will make their way towards us. But that's not the end of the world, as long as we kill them. Perfect. Of course, not a doubt in my mind, I was definitely not scared or anything like that. Oh, and I guess we've committed to this fight now. Maybe not my best move there either, but no issues whatsoever, and we'll continue going on with good old Noodle Boop here. Never a doubt in my mind. You fail this Beastly Appendage more often than I'd think. 8% failure rate, feeling more like a 50-50 at this point. And, what is the best way for me to fight Robin? Running away doesn't work even on a regular character in this case, because Robin will just throw those targets. We can try and use this corner in the lack of vision to just bring the friends, and as long as we don't take too much damage from our leading person here, we should do alright getting back to the stairs. And the side benefit here is that we've also kind of spread Robin's minions throughout the area, and hopefully make it a slightly easier fight the next time we get back, especially since when Robin's also around, they'll all be mited up and hitting pretty dang hard. Ooh, but a +4 ring of protection is absolutely huge for us. Fantastic. You know, I think I will actually quiver my spit poison, since that seems to be a bit more useful in that slot. Add our friend, goodbye, and what do we get? Ooh, some high-level lightning spells, so we could end up going air magic, rather. Nothing wrong with a bit of hair magic, but I'll have to wait for a future update. Maybe that's going to be in the next trunk. Not too shabby here. And yeah, do you know what? If we can just sit here and they come to us one by one, that would kind of be the dream. I don't think we're actually going to get that lucky, unfortunately, but it would be nice in its own right. But perfect. We'll just keep on keeping on. We could learn Wereblood. It's kind of scary to make large amounts of noise because, again, if we wake up anything and they see us, it's going to be a bit of a struggle to get away. So ideally, we can try and prevent that from happening. Ice form might be the next one we take. Spider form's not the end of the world, but I generally find myself staying away from it a little bit. We'll see how it goes. Maybe we will want that auxiliary poison attack. Regardless, let's just get back on the road for now. And I'm not too sure who will worship. We're not finding any early altars, so maybe, just maybe, we will end up going with Che when we do find the Economical Temple. We'll have to see how it all plays out. Oh my gosh, where the heck are you? Ah, there's Robin. Hello. So I'm immediately regretting my decisions here. We are going to walk away since this ranged buddy is kind of screwing over all of their teammates. I guess that'll no longer be the case. I've kind of shot myself in the foot to a certain extent, but I'm sure we'll be fine. Hello, Robin. You chose the wrong Naga to fight today. And there we go. We will pick up that helmet for a nice bit of AC. Actually, is that a problem with Beastly Appendage? I'm trying to remember what happens when you take up your head slot. You no longer get horns. Do you get hooves or talons instead? Because you used to get a random one out of all of those. Ah, nope. We just meld our helmet in. I'll take that. That's a decent trade. Either have one extra AC, or we can suck our helmet into our horns. Pretty cool superpower, if you ask me. But not too shabby. And I think we will start cross-training a little bit here, because we might as well branch out into poison. It's not a huge investment. Let's actually set this to something like 9. Because of our high poison aptitude, we'll be able to just fly through the early levels, no problem. So that's not too shabby. And let's just get back on the road, shall we? Hello, my friends. Goodbye. And we're looking for no undead, no centaurs. Just whatever you send my way. No centaurs, please, game. If you could be so kind. A glowing kite shield, though, on the other hand, is quite fantastic for us. So that's one of the little benefits of Naga that we haven't mentioned so far, is that they have the same shield penalties as a large species. So we can actually get that kite shield up and running relatively quickly, just bringing it to around 9 skill instead of the usual 14-15. We'll definitely try and take advantage of that. We'll lose a little bit of our damage output, but that's not too much to ask for at the end of the day. And let's buy ourselves a heal wound, mark haste and whatnot off. We'll see if we end up going chain, that haste potion will be useless. Hey, Cockatiel, thank you so much for the 3 months Prime. I very much appreciate it. I hope you're having a fantastic weekend. Hope birds are doing well, of course. I'm sure we're getting pretty close to beat clicking time. Oh, geez Louise. Normally, Sigmund, not the end of the world on a Naga, because with his polearm, he's not going to be right next to you on the stairs and you can just escape. Unfortunately, we got a little bit less lucky this time around. What we can do is potentially switch over to a Tropa. 50% chance to hit, large chance to blind. Fantastic. I'll spit at you once to see how it goes. You know, not very well. I think we'll take you upstairs though, and we will try out this fight real quick and see how she goes. We have decent AC with that fortunate ring that we found earlier, and we do have health potions if we need them, which it's looking like we will. But Sigmund relatively close to dead, and there we have it. Very scary encounter, but no worries whatsoever. And then down here we did see there was yet another skeleton. Never again. Let's head to a different stairwell for now, and hopefully by the time we get there we can kill them. You know, I guess the game just has it out for us. That's fine. At the very least, we're not also a Venom Mage this time, so there's a little bit more forgiveness to be had. Fantastic. Accidentally shooting out an Atropa Dart instead of our Poison Spit, but that is a-okay. Get back on the saddle. Hey, behold, Adam, been a while. Nice to see you. Yet another Sigmund death? Oh, usually is, no? And okie dokie. This is a rough one. Fortunately, the ogre saw us, so we went right for the spit there. Maybe Atropa will continue being my savior in life. Nope, we'll just miss both of them. That's cool too. I appreciate that, Adam, I appreciate that. And let's hope our poison is enough. Rough start to have to use up both of our heal wounds, but that's what it takes. Then so be it. There we go, we do manage to kill the ogre, and hopefully the rest of this floor isn't too bad. We've used up a lot of our consumables so far. I just want a nice, smooth ride, a nice, clean game from everyone. Let's see how it goes. Just no more ogres, but also not an upgrade. Preferably, let's not bring centaurs into the mix while we're at it. That would be nice. Let's see, as long as things are vulnerable to poison, though, it's generally not the end of the world. Fantastic stuff. And as long as we can survive this early game, we will eventually become a true powerhouse to be feared. That's generally the rub with Naga, is you're stuck with a bit of a rough early game, especially with those random encounters and never knowing what you're going to come around a corner to. But the beautiful trade-off is that by the time you get to the medium or mid to late stages of the game, you will absolutely steamroll through everything. Very nice stat lines for hybrid casters. Okay, apparently this whole floor has a bit of a theme to it. Well, let's let you come there and close the door in your face. In fact, let's just close both doors. And let's wait here for just a brief moment, shall we? Still have plenty of turns. Sir, you could just keep walking. Just keep walking your way. You know what? Maybe we just come back at a later date. Let's not fool around too much with all of these undead buddies when we can instead just move on to the next floor for now. Should be slightly more cautious upon seeing an orc, because a single orc priest could definitely put us in a bit of an annoying spot here. You know, that would do it too. Did they have an acid wand? It looked like you had an acid wand, my friend. Well, if you could be so kind as to... Nope. Okay, very unfortunate. I was too busy talking about how worried we should be about orc priests that an orc mage with a wand of acid is the end of us. Whirl Noodle Boop. never had a chance to shine. But hey, we're back at it from the start again. And let's see if we can get something a little luckier going on. Shad, should we change narrative so we're not killing those tiny noodle and just booping them till they disappear? We're just subsuming them into our bodies. We're bringing them into our brood. I think that's a good rebranding of all the snake murder that usually happens in the game. But Spindar, you feel like Sigmund is a lot weaker than he used to be? Grinder took his spot? I would agree with that, especially since Sigmund, I always like to mention the fact that Sigmund has this like aura of fear around him because for the longest time he was such an early game killer that now everyone gives him the respect he deserves. But then you have the sneaky ones like Grinder, where if you're not as used to coming across Grinder, that paralyze will completely ruin your day. No, the boop indeed. We'll have to maybe start a boop family lineage here, because I'm willing and happy to give it another shot. So my next kind of top choice for Naga here is probably Ice Elementalist. The nice thing about Ice Elementalist is with Frozen Ramparts and Ozakubi's armor, you don't want to move. Which, hey, when your movement is slow as heck, that generally works out in your, if not favor, then at least becomes a bit more of a neutral rather than total detriment. So let's try that out, shall we? And what shall we do for you? Could just go with Noodle Boop the second, but I'm feeling like we might need to mix it up here. Chili Boop? Perfect. Thank you, Shad, for the assist here. Let's do it. I was trying to think of a good cold theme to it, so you beat me to the punch. Hey, Jazzy, how's it going? Hope you're having a fantastic weekend. Lovely to see you. And again, let's train up just a wee bit of stealth. Did Party was a super inappropriate one? Maybe that will have to be the next one then. But of course, we'll mark everything to be picked up in the future here, and we'll do one final dump file because I'm sure that this is going to be the one to transcend our mortal shackles and make it to the end. So let's replace that just in case anyone wants to join in on their own. Hey, Cockatiel, do I Fall Guys? I do. Yeah, I've had it since fairly early on in its development. It's come a long way. I actually very recently went back to that game for the first time in a long time. My sister, my partner, and I all played a few rounds together to see what was going on in the game currently. And it's definitely in a pretty fun spot. It's my understanding that it's also now free to play, so huge player base and really easy buy-in. If you haven't tried it out before, I'd recommend it. Definitely a really fun game when you just have a little while to spare, and you just want to jump into something light fare. Always a good time, especially with friends. That's one that I enjoy playing more so with people than by myself. I think we've even played it on stream at least once, potentially a couple times. So we might have to bring that back at some point. Especially now that it's free, people can just join in whenever it works. But okie dokie, decent little selection of enemies there, but no real issues. Fantastic. Calculated Patient says you can never get me to play around with you. Do you think you could prove him wrong like one time? Can probably do that, Cocktail. Yeah, for sure. When are you two usually playing? This is your friend who's come along to the stream before, right? Because I remember one of your patients was hanging out a decent while. Wow. Failties are spit a few times, that 2% not hidden today. Yeah, oh nice. Yeah, no, we could definitely do that sometime. I will say that I have a fairly busy schedule and I don't get a lot of time to play, but it's a pretty quick one to jump in and out of for sure and have a good time. Be quick because he said my games are boring. That's fair enough. If dungeon crawlers aren't your style, I'm not gonna hate too much on that. I mean, obviously on a personal level I disagree, but that's just because I'm very much a nerd who enjoys this kind of slow-paced, strategic style. know, potentially we can work out a time in the future that we can all get on and say hello again. Okie dokie. Decent start to our dungeon here. We have actually hit level 3, so I almost definitely should be learning these sons of guns here. Kind of getting the flow sometimes when you're not paying attention to anything. Relatively soon we can get armor as well. But yes, let's bring on the Frozen Ramparts. This is when we get a nice little uptick in our overall power level. You do love to see it. Fantastic. In fact, I wouldn't mind if all of these Sons Buns came to hang out. This Hobgoblin has a plus 10 mace. Holy moly. Hold up. Let's not wake the others if possible. No, of course, he probably yelled. You know, that makes a certain amount of sense. Should have seen that one coming. But we definitely need to get this son of a gun killed immediately so that we don't take any hits from that mace, and that will be a wonderful little upgrade for us. Could you just mean that if I play Fall Guys stream one time, you'd like to prove him wrong, no pressure or anything? No, we can definitely do that. Fall Guys is very much a good fit for the usual kind of Wednesday stream. Especially since the last time we played it, I think we did have a couple of chatters joining in, and that was a lot of fun. So, just for you, Cocktail, we'll have to bring that back sometime relatively soon here. Okie dokie, let's get absolutely carried by this mace for the next foreseeable bit here. Decent little spread of resistances. One thing we haven't mentioned for Naga yet is that we do start off with a really solid, or not start off, but we have a really good willpower score. So as we level up, we get a lot of just natural willpower upgrades. Helps offset a bit of the luck when it comes to what kind of rand arts we'll find. That's not Robin, SG. Hopefully we don't run into Robin. That's one way that we could still see an end here. Oops, let's put on that. Already back to a similar status as our last Naga here. Instead of a Scarf of Resistance, we just have the rings to do it. Interesting. Hello, Pargy. If you could pretty please give me your skin, I would greatly appreciate that. Can I kill Pargy? You hit pretty hard, not gonna lie. At the very least, we should probably try and learn Ozkubu's armor before we get into that encounter. With only 2 AC, each and every one of those multiple hits is gonna be an absolute truck ton of damage. Fantastic. Very cool winged helmet. When I was a kid and I played a lot of Baldur's Gate and Icewind Dale, and I was all about the winged helmets. I thought they were the coolest thing in the world. So glad to be making my own childhood dreams come true and wearing them today. And an armor shop, let's see what we find. Ooh, fancy helmet, some good armor options. We'll definitely be back here in the future, potentially even just buying a standard little cloak. And let's not make the same mistake as before. I do not want to fight an orc mage with things to lose. Definitely need to bring you out though. And then, last but not least, get some Poison Spit. Fantastic. Should also change back to Poison Spit in my quiver before I accidentally use that. Like the horn one in Skyrim, it's iconic. Exactly, yeah. It's a very distinguished, very noticeable look, to say the least. And there we go. That's the kind of Orc Priest encounter you like to see. Fantastic. I think there was an Orc Wizard still in that area, so we might want to be slightly cautious of that. But let's, for now, cordon off Pargy. I guess we do have Ozkubu's armor, so that's slightly better. We pop away just a wee bit, so we're not chanting and waking up Pargy. 10 AC. Where does that leave me? How do we feel about that? Let's do a quick check, shall we? Well, that's not going to do it. Let's try that one more time. Accidentally hit caps lock and kind of destroyed everything. Bite for up to 9, claw twice for up to 4, so the clawing should probably be reduced to 0 the majority of the time. That 9 damage is still going to potentially hurt, but I do think we can take you. Famous last words, of course. If only we could still throw daggers, because we do have this wonderful electric dagger just burning a hole in our pocket. Okie dokie. Argy, let's dance. Ooh, knocking the poison spit is kind of a huge disadvantage, but I think we have to just roll with it for the time being here. And we'll just keep our ice up. Fantastic. So looked like no problem whatsoever, but that definitely could have gone a heck of a lot worse. Fortunately, we got a bit lucky in the lead up, and so I will definitely take that, to say the least.